Hello everyone, welcome to Lavenlxy episode. Thank you so much for waiting for my new videos. Well, today I'm going to share with you these exciting moments about the new regulation by EC. Well, everyone knows that this EC regulation has hit a very big impact on buyers who are looking to upgrade. But fret not, we have these 5 limited plots that you can consider before restriction kicks in. So thank you so much to all my clients and colleagues who have been supporting me since when I started this EC journey. And I'm very grateful to all my clients who actually achieved the golden opportunities to step into EC market before the HDB supply is going more. So these are the portfolio that I have helped my clients to get a good units in the relevant projects such as Artura, Novo Place, Auto Place, Resale, as well as Coastal Cabana. I think the most recent story that I have actually helped my clients who upgraded from HDB to EC is that they actually managed to sell their HDB in the prime area at the highest record price. This is something that I always wanted clients to achieve, that kind of maximize cash profit so that they can upgrade to a condo that is selling below the normal new launches wholesale prices. The issue right now in the HDB market is that most of the HDB residents or buyers are looking to explore more options, not just upgrading to EC. And why is that so? This is mainly caused by our important parties in Singapore such as Mr. Chee Hong Tat as well as Minister Xueling. They are the ones who emphasize to have more HDB BTO supply, and they are the ones to target more BTO to be built faster. And why are these two important things will impact the HDB resale market? It's because they are the ones to highlight that they are going to moderate HDB prices. This is very important to all the HDB residents out there to understand why is it so important to upgrade property right now or to cash out your current property if let's say your HDB prices did not go up anywhere. The fact that they are going to moderate HDB prices in future. The question to you as a HDB residents, do you think you should actually sell now or actually sell later? A disclaimer, this will depend on where your current HDB flat is. But in general, we notice that there will be an increase of the HDB supply in the next 2 years. This is something that not many HDB residents are aware of it, and that is why I feel that this is important to share with you in this video, because a lot of HDB residents know that the HDB supply are increasing. That's why they may feel that they should wait later. But do you know if you wait later, the supply of the BTO flat will be even more? Will there be more competitive? Will the prices will be more moderated? This is up to your situations, and that will be depends on how you justify it based on your financial and your time opportunity cost. Of course, if you are keen to find out more about your option, you can feel free to drop me a text and I'm happy to share with you. Okay, let's look at this chart for the EC prices from 2013 to 2024. You could see that the prices have been increasing. If today you are sitting in a current HDB flat, looking to upgrade to a bigger size unit such as condominium as a condominium, this is something that I really want you to understand the whole situation right now, is that the prices for the condominiums are getting more higher. And you know the fact that our government has been trying to moderate the HDB prices in the next few years. Do you think the opportunity cost for you to upgrade is getting lesser and lesser? When is the right time to exit? You can think about it. And guess what? There are no other EC condos in the east side other than these 5 plots of land that will be launching this year. So if you are looking for east side, there is only one, which is Coastal Cabana, while the rest of them will be at the west area or the north side. Based on our PortNet research, we have actually conducted about 50% of HDB owners are keen upgraders, and most of them belongs to those who are looking for a bigger size or bigger location or private condos. So that actually means that there will be more upgraders who are looking to upgrade if they are going to fulfill at least 5 years MOP. So here are the 4 new regulations by government, and this is just announced last month. And what I want to share with you is that this only applies to those plots of land that haven't been tendered. So the question is, where are your last hopes? So here are the 5 EC that are not impacted by the new EC regulation. And the first and only EC in the East is Coastal Cabana. Do feel free to drop a text or even find out more about this project through my videos. And the next four projects they will not be affected are the Sembawang, Senja, Woodlands and Milton close. And look at the break-even price based on the tendered price. You could see that the price are getting much more higher. Now the question is it actually a good buy to consider these 5 EC that are not impacted by EC policy? Number one, our first regulation is the change in MOP timeline. So based on this timeline, I have plugged in the list of EC that are not affected and affected. So the one that are not affected are the 5 plots of land, and I want to share with you that I will say this is a very important policy because no one wants to hold it for so long. But if you want to miss these plots of land, what if you are going to wait for another 10 years instead of 5 years? Is it worth for you to actually go for if you want to buy for the future capital growth? Number two is the change in the percentage of first and second timer. So while everyone is aware that the first timer usually did not hit up to 70%, but the main major cost is actually come from the 30% of the second timer. So all these upcoming ECs except Canberra and Sembawang will not be affected by the 30% second timer. So for those second timers buyers, if you are keen to actually go for a good unit in the EC, these few plots of land that are listed are very important to you. You may actually have a look and see whether if you really want to go for the lucky number. But if you want to go for the next few plots such as Canberra and Sembawang, the chances of being part of 10% second timer for the first day launch is very, very limited. Number three is the priority timeline. I think this is the very important things that the first timer buyers must need to know, which is you need to wait at least 2 years after the miss from a 1 month booking day. So I will say this is very important to most of the first timer because it actually matters your time opportunity cost. If you would like to wait for another 2 years, do you think you have another opportunity for such a PTO new project or even a new launch project? Which one is much more important to you? Number four, the last and most important regulation that will affect all the HDB upgraders. Please take note about this slide because this is very important to you, because a lot of my clients have issues of paying two loans from both sides. But with deferred payment scheme, it helps them to prepare 20% cash or CPF upfront, subject to the financial affordability, and the rest of it will be paid upon TOP. However, with this regulation, this means that HDB upgraders will need to pay loan from both sides, and they cannot use deferred payment scheme if they want to buy new EC. Let's explore our first Sembawang route. The tender is 692 per square feet. According to the 5 tenders, we noticed that we have familiar developers such as Senja, Hong Leong, as well as Lavenlxy Pacific. And these developers are quite well known in Singapore and have established quite a lot of projects for new launches. But look at this location. What interests me is that the familiar developer is believing in this block of land, and that's why they are keen to pick this place. So now let's explore the numbers in terms of the nearby resale as well as the new launches. So based on the Sembawang break-even price is 1,277, to add in some of the profitability as well as harmonization, the estimated price that I feel for Sembawang route for 3-bedroom will be estimated about 1.42, but 4-bedroom will be 1.6. Now the question is whether this price will be make sense or not. It will depend on the nearby resale property. So I actually draw out the Water Garden and Komodo. The estimated prices for resale is about 1.7, whereas the 4-bedroom is about 2.3. That's explain why the developers are believing in this project, because the price gap in between the resale as well as the estimated price, including profit, is actually has a huge gap. Number 2 is our Senja Close, and I feel that this will be the most popular project among the 5 EC because it is located quite close to Bukit Panjang. Nearest LRT is Jelapang. Although it's located quite close to Expressway, but I feel that the view might be very fantastic. However, based on the developer list who are tendering for this plot of land, I'm very surprised that Lavenlxy is taking the second chance to try and ballot for the land. However, CDL took the opportunity to get this land. So with this CDL developer, I'm very surprised that CDL will actually want to take this land other than the Woodlands. It shows that the CDL wants to have a market share of the EC market. And looking at this plot of land, right, the interesting part about this is that there is no other condos nearby except Blossom Residence. So to actually benchmark for these prices is a very crucial. Let's see the numbers. So the break-even price for Senja Close is estimated about 1,003 to 1,004. So to add in the profitability and the harmonization, the estimated prices for 3-bedroom for Senja is about 1.42, while 4-bedroom is about 1.6. But the interesting part about this is that because we only have one project to benchmark, which is Blossom Residence, the 3-bedrooms for resale is about 1.3, whereas the 4-bedroom resale is about 1.7. Now, the question is why if you look at this particular project, the price gap in between both is very close. That is the reason why the well-known and familiar developers are not willing to take this land is because there is nothing to benchmark other than Blossom Residence. So if the gap in between is very close, that may question whether they will have some room for improvement. So I think this will be discussed in a later stage after we know more details about this Senja Close, and who knows, there may be new GLS nearby together. While we compare with other new GLS at Yishun or Sembawang, people may feel that Senja Close might be a good buy. The third plot that I will be talking about is the Woodlands Drive 17, and that is the most popular project among all because if you look at the tenderers, I noticed there are so many familiar and well-known developers such as Sim Lian, Hong Leong, Koi Hub, who is also joining. Unfortunately, CDL is the one to get it other than Senja Close, so congrats to CDL. But look at this location, I think this is very important because it's not just about Woodlands, it is about located near the Woodlands South MRT Block 9. So I'm not sure if you have ever heard of Norwood Green, which was fully sold quite fast. And I would say that because of the demand in Woodlands, this will push up quite high to the EC side as well. So now the question is, does the price make sense if we are bidding around 782 per square foot PPR? So to compare with the resale versus new launch, we have three types of EC such as Bellwood, Twin Fountain, and Forestville, and all these are newly MOP projects, as well as Norwood Green, which is new launch. Based on the break-even price by CDL 1,004 per square feet to add in with the harmonization as well as profitability, the estimated 3-bedroom prices could be around 1.56, whereas 4-bedroom is about 1.8. Now the question is, if we look at the 3-bedroom resale EC prices, the average prices is around 1.3, where the 4-bedroom resale average prices is about 1.7. If you were to ask me, I feel that the price gap is actually quite close. In fact, it's already overlapped by the new EC prices, which is 1.5. So with this one, that actually brings out whether is it worth to buy a new one with fresh lease or maybe a 10 years old EC that is already transacted around 1.3 million. But if we were to compare with the new launches, such as 3 bedrooms, 2.2 million, there is a far gap in between about 600 to 700,000, whereas for 4 bedrooms is about almost 800,000. What is the issue right now from here is that I personally feel 3-bedroom new launches to compare with the resale EC, definitely people may go for the 3-bedroom EC if they don't mind the age of it. But if they are going for something brand new, they will still go for the Woodlands Drive because there is still a very safe gap in between the Norwood Green as well as the new Woodlands Drive 17. So we have 3 plots of land, mainly Norwood Green, Woodlands Drive 17, and the second part of Woodlands Drive 17. And these 3 plots of land are very important to you because it is easier to decide based on the prices that they are selling in the same location. So what we know is that the Norwood Green and the first Woodlands Drive 17 are bidded by CDL, whereas the last plot is tendered by Sim Lian. Now the question is why CDL didn't bid the last block of land. It could be possibly that it is enough for them to hold a masterpiece of their plot, or what? Let's explore. So the last block is awarded to Sim Lian, and there are only 2 other tenderers such as Qingjian and Hong Leong. So why is CDL is not going for them? I'm not too sure, but I believe that with the 2 plots from Norwood Green and the first Woodlands Drive 17, it's enough for them to control the prices. Right now, Sim Lian is holding the highest tendered price in the whole Woodlands with 794. Will that be a good opportunity to enter even though it is at the highest record price? Based on Sim Lian portfolios such as Resale and Oriel, even though the PSF was hit at the highest record in the east side, it also shows that there is a lot of demand going for that, mainly because of the Tampines itself or probably because of its old portfolio. A lot of people like Singlian project because the layout is very efficient. Even I myself also fall in love. So right now, I feel that because these two plots are not affected by EC policy, I feel that there are some of the HDB upgraders will still go for Woodlands Drive 17 if they couldn't beat the first one. So I think this is a very good and last opportunity for those residents who are looking for Woodlands sites and at the same time and they do not want to sell their HDB right now. This is the last hope that you can make use of deferred payment scheme to upgrade to Woodlands EC. So same applies for the first one that I've shared with you, a quick touch on it. The 3-bedroom estimated based on the break-even price, profitability and harmonization, the prices will be going up to 1.8, whereas the 4-bedroom will be about 2 million. So with the price gap in between of the second plot and the first plot, that will actually make the buyers to think twice. So if I were you, I will go for the first one because honestly, 30% is actually not enough for second timers to go for it. If you do not have the luck, you may also start to prepare your cash fund to go for the second one. Moving forward to the second last plot that are affected by the new EC policy, this is the one that is just recently reported last 2 days. Canberra Drive EC was actually located next to Canberra residents, and according to what the analyst shared, the prices for PSF could be ideally around 1,006 to 1,007. And this kind of price could be based on the OCL new launcher price 2 years back. So with this kind of location, will there be people going for that, as this is actually quite close to Canberra station? Statistics also found that there are many new upgraders coming from this Yishun and Woodlands side, so this may spec up the demand of the EC project, and that's why the government decided to come up with new plot of land GLS for EC. The last plot that is released for tendering is Sembawang Drive, which is ideally quite close to Sembawang Road, with the total number of 415 units, which I feel that this number makes sense because it may have a potential to exceed it earlier. This is something that we haven't gotten any information right now, but we can use it as a reference. Speaking of these following projects that I have mentioned earlier, I have came out with this particular report by HBOB, and I noticed that most of the projects that makes the most profitable transactions in 2024 are mainly from Canberra Drive, Woodlands, as well as Sembawang. Let's find out the numbers right now and see whether how much they have actually made the profits. Many may think that these locations might not be so ideal for HDB upgraders, so that is why it's very important for me to draw out the numbers, especially for those most profitable transactions. So if you look at the numbers right now near the upcoming Canberra Drive EC, and they are actually located quite close to each other. Comparing with these two projects, you can see that the ideal 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom prices are very high right now. You look at a 4-bedroom and Vision Land is about 1.8 million, and whereas we also have Brownstone 3 bedrooms is already 1.5 million. So if this upcoming Canberra Drive is launching near this resale price, will it be a good opportunity for the HDB upgraders to consider the new EC? And for those EC residents who are staying in these two projects, will it make more sense to exit right now before the new EC coming out with harmonization that might probably selling close to this price? So I think this is a very good alert for those HDB upgraders as well as EC residents who are staying here, because after all, you all have been staying there for almost 10 years and the profit margin is already at the peak of it. This is something that I noticed based on all the EC projects. Most of the buyers actually exit about 10 to 20 years. The second one shall be the Sembawang Crescent Park Life. They have actually made a very good descent of numbers. 3 bedrooms is already 1.5, whereas 4 bedrooms is already 1.8 million. So just now when I previously mentioned about the Sembawang estimated price, it actually shows that the price gap is very close. So this applies the same alert to EC residents who are staying at Park Life, as well as the HDB upgraders to consider this area when the prices that they are buying right now might be very close to the resale nearby in 10 minutes drive away. Okay, so the last will be the Northway, which is located near Amenity MRT and with a 16 minutes drive away from the Woodlands Drive 17, you will see that the prices for 3-bedroom is around 1.2 all the way to 1.5 million. Now the question is why the 4 bedrooms are not moving, or how the 4 bedrooms prices there. The 4 bedrooms are not really up for in the market. It may feel that the Northway residents are very happy with the 4 bedrooms layout and the size, so they do not want to sell. But it also shows that there could be a more demand for people who are looking for 4 bedrooms. However, this is not a very good benchmark to determine the Woodlands Drive 17 because it's located quite far and in fact quite close to Amenity. The only thing we can say is the Woodlands Drive 17 is very close to the Northwood Grand, which we could use that as a benchmark to determine how good and safe to enter for the 3 and a 4 bedroom. But one thing for sure, if you can go for a 4 bedroom at Woodlands, I feel that there will be a very good demand for that because the Northwood Grand is already pricing around more than 2.5 million, and if you can buy something at 1.8 or even below 2 million, I feel that it's very safe for 4 bedroom in the Woodlands area. And not forgetting, it is also located near the Brown Line. With the changes in regulation in EC, I will feel that the next future EC might not be so easy to enter because of the time opportunity cost. If you ever wanted to find out more whether which option is right for you, you can feel free to contact me at this number. And if you like this video, feel free to follow, subscribe and like. See you! Goodbye!